Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. The details coming up. First up, 9 primary and 3 secondary schools are still being used as hurricane shelters. While some schools have already opened, others are still working on other matters to be resolved before they can reopen. Idona John Baptist has that story.
The Trafalgar Primary School is among the government-run learning institutions where no definite date has been set yet for the resumption of classes. With me is the principal of the Trafalgar Primary School, Miss Eugenia Richards. Miss Richards, how have you been faring in this situation?
We at school are just here for the Return to Happiness program, where the kids gather and we have lots of fun. We have lots of ring games. We have lots of storytelling, and we have activities where the kids themselves relate what Hurricane Maria has done to them. And we try at least for them to speak to us so that they can speak out what is really on their mind. So we are dealing like with their psychological experience. And then we are hoping that this would prepare them for when school actually reopens.
Okay, but as it stands, as it relates to the offering of classes and lessons, how does that look for the school?
Offering of lessons and classes, we can do that now. Because some of the students, they have migrated overseas. Some of them are still at home. But those who keep coming, we entertain them. We entertain them in that they are hungry for what we are giving them. We are giving them fun. We are letting them entertain themselves. We are letting them react to certain situations probably that kind of locked inside of them.
No, as it stands, the school was also structurally impacted. To what extent?
There is, at present, we can say that our toilet facility is not really working, and part of the school, there is just one family on board hoping to return to their home at any time.
Okay, so the school is also being used as a shelter?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then we have used this section, the infant section, and the cafeteria. And then I find it has worked well for the students. Also, there is a large yard where we gather to do our ring games and so on.
What was the population of the school pre-Hurricane Maria?
Pre-Hurricane Maria, that it was about 45 students with the merger of Loda coming into Trafalgar. Yes.
Right, because Loda merged with Trafalgar as of the new academic year in September.
Yes, that happened at Loda. It was not a government decision. It was a parent decision because the numbers at Loda had dwindled to very, very few students, and then the very few students could not have occupy each class for sessions. So then there was a merger of classes based on that.
Okay, and that has been working out okay?
Kind of working out okay.
All right. You've not have to implement a shift system to do so?
No, because we were able to absorb the 4 students into Trafalgar population, so there was no kind of shift system.
Okay. What about the attendance of teachers around here since Hurricane Maria? Have they reported to school? Have they come to assess the situation as well?
Yes, teachers are coming to school. We are mandatory asked to come from 9 to 1 o'clock. At present, we have about 44 students with us coming on a regular basis. Because we are coming at 9 o'clock and the students keep coming, we are willing to go through that happiness program until we are officially open and everything is normal. You understand? Yeah.
Any recent feedback from the Ministry of Education?
We have gotten anywhere when classes will be officially open. But we all hope that at least in January 2018, classes will be normal.
In the case of the Goodwill Primary School, classes have not resumed there yet because there's still a lot of work to be done on the school's building, which suffered some roof damage. In the meantime, Rubis is funding the rehabilitation of the school's auditorium. The idea is for removable partitions to be placed in the auditorium hall to deliver classes. The school's principal, Greta Roberts, told us she anticipates this will be ready in 2 weeks for the resumption of classes. A few people seeking shelter there recently left to prepare the school's administration to complete renovation works. So it's also a matter of cleaning and sanitizing the rooms. The washroom building is undergoing renovation as well. Other schools that are still shelters are Dominica Grammar School, Portsmouth Secondary, Isaiah Thomas Secondary, Roosevelt Douglas Primary, Jones Beaupierre Primary, the Campbell, Maho, Warner, Concord, Roseau, and Bagatelle primary schools. Idona John Baptist reporting for Channel 5 News.
In other news, Dominican consumers are being advised to unite to influence market prices. Andrea Louis has more.
The words of advice from President of the Dominica Consumer Protection Association, Inc., Cleville Mills. In recent times, the cry of foul play has been growing as consumers complain about the notable increase in prices on numerous goods and products, despite the pronouncement by Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit that VAT and other duties be waived for 6 months. Channel 5 News sought to get clarification on the work of the Consumer Protection Association, Inc. in times like these. President of the association, Cleville Mills, says that currently the organization is focusing primarily on educating the public on their rights. However, the power to influence market prices lies in the hands of the consumers.
Okay, the Dominica Consumer Protection Association, Inc. has been incorporated in October last year, but there has always been a move to have a consumer watchdog or some advocate on behalf of consumers. But that idea came about due to the fact that there's a need to strengthen consumer protection in Dominica. There is also the intention of the government and the OECS as a whole to have a harmonized bill to take care of consumer protection. In that bill, there's space for even to have legislated in that bill the consumer protection as an association which is a super complainant in the cases where consumers may have complaints about matters affecting them. Okay. The association itself really is to try to help consumers organize themselves to. The most important thing is to get them informed and to know their rights. There are many rights that customers have, and some of them might not know. Okay. And that is why sometimes we find that people in the market, people who are selling, and people who are in business to make a profit, take the advantage on the consumers. So if the consumers are better educated, they'll be in a better position to protect their rights.
So how exactly do you protect the consumers' rights? Is it a case you can step in and on our behalf and advocate for us, or we have to do everything ourselves? How do you protect our rights as consumers? Okay,
the association really is about organizing consumers. As I told you, we started last year, October, but it's a matter of we trying to have certain programs and certain education programs to educate the consumers. One of the things that we want to have going, for instance, is to be able to get enough information on certain prices of as many goods as possible, so that consumers can have a reference to prices, and at least when they go to shop, they know that there's an association who is giving them a guide as to what the price is. I mean, ordinarily, a consumer, there's a basic thing they say, if you think something is too expensive for what you want, then it is really too expensive. You should not buy it. But at least if the consumer have that guide, there's something, at least they have something to bargain for. For instance, you know the business there's an association protecting the rights of the people who sell. Now consumers who buy everything need to have somebody that they can rely on. So that is That's why it is very important that we try to let consumers, everybody in Dominica is a consumer, even those who are producing and selling, they themselves are consumers at one time or the other. So we want people to know that there's an association that is there to inform them and to help organize them and to give them the information that they need to really protect their interests.
Now, following the passage of Hurricane Maria, businesses have started reopening. We heard the Prime Minister call for the elimination of certain taxes on various products, but we also heard consumers complaining and even seeing for ourselves that the prices have skyrocketed in some establishments. What then do consumers do, or does the association do to protect consumers' right in those instances?
Well, you see, we need to be a little bit more vocal, you know, we need to be a little more vocal. The association itself, as I said, has just started, so it is not fully organized. So we really need to get into the market ourselves, right? If I should use that same word, because if you understand how people do marketing, they just try to bombard people with information, and people hear information on one side. They only hear information from the other side. The consumer need to hear their side, so that they can be able to stand with the people who are in business to make money and who really have the money to really use the marketing to really convince people, you know. So now talking about the prices, you know, and the fact that government has already made certain concession to people who purchase things and people who import things. And that's a serious problem that we have, that every time you hear the government drop certain duties, then maybe almost as the announcement is made, the price goes up. But when the price goes down now, you hear the people in the market say they have to clear the old stock. But when it goes down, they doesn't remember that the old stock they have. So that is why, again, you know, the consumers really, I can't stop emphasizing that. The consumers really have to be organized, because the people, as I say, they are in the market to make money. So there are certain protection that we have right now. It is very limited in law. There are few commodities in the market that there is law for. Now, I forget the name of the act, but there's an act, Supply Control Act, which makes provision for the minister to make a regulation on certain items. Like, you know that LPG, petroleum products on a whole, they are regulated by price. And there are serious penalties for people who violate the prices. Also, there's also the cement. There's a price control for cement. But that depends on when the minister makes the order, the statutory order. Now, I think, according to the Act, the minister can make regulation for almost any good, any item. But what we understand is in the market, and people have carried surveys, and they realize that sometimes that form of price control is not as effective as if you let the market control itself. Okay. So that is why I would maybe believe that the government might be reluctant in some ways to really regulate certain prices that they themselves and even the public would like to see get done. But the thinking in the market is that if you have a different approach, you have consumers educating themselves, consumers knowing their rights, then you can have a better way of bringing on the prices. I think there was a survey, that same survey said that in one of the countries that the price of cement, when they look at it, where the prices were regulated, people still did better in bringing on the prices where it is unregulated. So that's the balancing act that have to be done. We need the consumers to know that there's a Consumer Protection Association that is looking about their interests, and they must try to get more information about the association. And the association, we have to try to have some outreach program to really get in touch with the people. And that's the way, and that's the best way I understand that we can control the prices.
So it's pretty much a case of the consumers bonding together and standing together and deciding we are not buying anything priced above this price point, pretty much, and hopefully that way they can regulate how retailers sell their products.
Well, that's the purpose of getting consumers to know their rights and to have the information. And you know, I have a very practical case that I know of in a certain village in Dominica, where the regular bakeries sell bread, and you know, sometimes back there was some increase in during the time that they had increase in gas prices. The price of the normal bread went up from $1 to $1.25. Okay. But in that particular community, those bakeries who were trying to sell the bread at $1.25, the people refused to buy it. and they are now selling the bread for $1 in that place. And they are not making any special batch for that community. So that tells me that they're selling the bread at $1. They are not losing. So the consumer should also know that they have a bargaining power, because a person is trying to sell, as I would say, they're trying to make as much profit as they can. But if we can control the market, if the consumers can control the market, we'll be at a better advantage.
Mr. Mills, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much. You're welcome.
And there we heard from President of the Dominica Consumer Protection Association, Inc., Mr. Cleville Mills, speaking on the work of the association and encouraging consumers to be educated on their rights. Reporting for Channel 5 News, I am Andrea Louis.
Next up, we look at how employees in the public service were affected by Hurricane Maria.
Employees in the public service also felt the brunt of the Category 5 hurricane, but General Secretary of the Public Service Union says there is a plan to help the people he serves.
One of the things that they complain about would be the condition under which they work. For example, as I speak to you now, we have a serious problem at the registry, where the officers are operating in what I would say is almost pitch darkness in some of the offices. You still have a problem with dust. You have a problem with sagging tarpaulins. You have a problem in some areas where the floor has been sort of compromised and the rugs are still damp. I went down there sometime last week, and believe me, I met a couple of people sitting at the entrance of the office of the registrar. I guess they were waiting for the registrar. And it was so dark that I could not see the people's faces. That is how bad it is. We have since written to the permanent secretary and asking for some intervention. That letter was dated Thursday last week. And while we realize and we accept and we appreciate that we are not living in normal times, we have just gotten from the experience of a major hurricane. But one has to understand that public officers are making tremendous sacrifices. And as the employer, some level, not total comfort, but some level of comfort should be provided for them. You cannot have people working in those adverse conditions. It is not in keeping to our practices. It is not in conformity with our labor laws, and it is against international standards. But something can be done. They can be provided with respirators. And you could have some of them leaving a little earlier than the normal time. So a lot of things can be done to really make them feel comfortable. There are people down there who are pregnant and who have to go through that problem. We have another institution, I have not made mention of it yet because I have not gotten to the general manager of that institution. Here a tarpaulin is being used. And imagine yourself working in an office and you are operating under a tarpaulin. And I understand when it's around 2:30, it is hell for those people. It's really uncomfortable. And I'm saying that management in its good senses could at least have a system in place where some of them can leave a little earlier. Because people have to understand, we are all making sacrifices. It is our country. We have to rebuild this country. We cannot depend on people to come from outside and do it for us. But while the employees are going through that level of sacrifice that they are making, and they are fully committed, I believe in a lot of instances, management has not been fair and has not been reasonable. And as a union, we are not going to sit by. We know that people will criticize, but we have always said that any time that this union takes action, it is because we are 100% convinced that what we are doing is right and that we have been fair. So for the registry, I'll be meeting with the employees sometimes tomorrow on Thursday because we give a whole week. And if nothing is done by Thursday to improve the situation, I will be advising the employees that it cannot be normal work for them. And I will do the same with the other institution, but that is after I would have contacted management and expressing our concern to them. There are other problems that our members are faced with. We have tried to assist them in various ways. We have provided a number of them with relief supplies, things that we have gotten from our colleagues from overseas throughout the region. We have been helping them in various ways. And the union will be meeting. There is another major project that we intend to undertake on behalf of our members. We will not give much, we can't give much information now because it's still in the planning stages. But this union is doing quite a bit to assist its members.
And that was General Secretary of the Public Service Union on the way forward for the people he represents after the Category 5 hurricane. Reporting for Channel 5 News, I am Kenny Williams.
His Excellency Charles Savre has strongly condemned the looting which followed Hurricane Maria. He calls it another hurricane. The President spoke at the annual donation of finances to charitable organizations.
And certainly that follow-up hurricane has had a tremendous impact on persons who operated in the private sector. That is both the proprietors and the employees, because more people are now out of job in the private sector as a result of the follow-up hurricane after Maria than as a result of Maria. In that I mean that but for the post-Maria events, many private businesses would have been up and running, and many people who are now at their homes without a job would have been working. So there is a lesson for us to ponder and to consider.
Next up, regional forces helping in Dominica's recovery efforts have devised a way to highlight the impact of the storm on Dominica and at the same time raising funds for the country's recovery efforts. Some of the officers have come up with what they call a run for nature. This 5-kilometer race takes place in Kalinago territory, Portsmouth, Roseau and Grand Bay. Each race is expected to culminate with a special activity. Portsmouth will end with a soca aerobic warm-down session, while Grand Bay will wrap up with Lapo Cabwit. The race in Roseau, which the Prime Minister is expected to join, will come to a head in a concert at the stadium.
The concept of the run is to raise the awareness of the devastation caused by Hurricane Maria and to raise funds for disaster relief here in Dominica. The funds to be raised will be from our Caribbean countries, and it will come from in the form of corporate donations and or contributions from individuals who wish to contribute to the ongoing efforts here. The theme of the run, together we can, together we will. This aims to show that as CARICOM and the CARICOM forces, we stand together with Dominica in this their time of need. And what we're asking Dominicans to do is to come out and show your true strength. Show the strength of Dominicans that we have been seeing since we've been here. Again, the run is here just to show the strength of Dominicans and to raise funds for Dominica, and also to show that CARICOM stands with you in this your time of need.
As mentioned previously, the run will be taking place on the 4 cardinal points of the island. The east will be starting at the Celebia Primary School, making our way 2.5 kilometers out, and then returning to the start point at the Celebia Primary School. In the west, which will be Roseau, we're starting at the Financial Center, make our way along Independence Street, then onto Bath Road, we'll turn onto Hillsborough, then along Bay Street, along Victoria Street, through the Botanical Gardens, and ends at the National Stadium or Windsor Park. In the north, Portsmouth, we start at the Ross University, make our way 2.5 kilometers out, which will take us to the Portsmouth Police Station, and then return to the start point at the Ross University. In the south, which will be Granby, we'll be starting at the Geneva Bridge, making our way along the boulevard through Granby, I'll make our way to Lower Powell, then we'll turn about, which will be 2.5 kilometers, and make our way back to the start point, which will be at the Geneva Bridge. We look forward for your support, and we would like to start promptly at 7 a.m.
The Office of Disaster Management has put together this booklet. What it will do is that it tells you exactly what you need to do before a hurricane, during a hurricane, and subsequent to the hurricane. All right, so it really shows you everything that you need to do and to get done in preparation for hurricane. So at the end of each leg, these will also be given out to the public.
Safety and security measures for the race have already been put in place, and yes, you may see some senior police officers from the Dominica Police Force.
The Commander of Dominica Police Force recognizes the importance of this 5K run, and as a consequence, on behalf of the Chief of Police and the other gazetted officers, I want to give you our full support in this initiative. We think it's a worthwhile venture, and our participation in this exercise will be 100%. We are expected to provide about 25 officers within the Central Division to participate in that run. And you will not only see the lower ranks, you will also see senior police officers participating in that run. So I can guarantee you that between 7 and 9 on Saturday, it will be very interesting in the city of Roseau.
If you participate, you might get to see an element of competition in Saturday's race.
I was hoping, because at some point I said, if the Prime Minister is there, he has to join the race. As to which location, I do not know. Don't laugh. The Prime Minister is still very young. But I'm very much disappointed because I was hoping to have seen, the inclusion of a very, very important climax. At least to have 100. I specialize in 100 meters. 100 meters. Don't laugh. So I was hoping to have seen something like 100 meters burst at the end of the run at the sports stadium. And I'm not saying that I would have won or I will win, but I can tell you, I will be very competitive. Trust me.
The race takes place between 7 to 9 o'clock Saturday morning. This has been the Channel 5 News. Feel free to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Join us next time.